Well, folks, it's another Wednesday night. That means it's time for another Auburn Family Night. It's our live call-in show where we discuss what you want to talk about. You pick the topics, your comments, your questions, and your calls, all coming up right here on this Auburn Family live stream. Well, War Eagle Auburn family and War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, no matter how you got here, whether you're here on YouTube, Facebook, all the different other places, times, venues, multiverses in which you can get this content. We appreciate you being here and hanging out with us, being part of our little family within the Auburn family, as is the case every single Wednesday night at 8 p.m. since the dawn of time, since the days where there was barely any Auburn stuff on YouTube. We have been doing this where you get to call in and talk about what you want to discuss. So you will dictate the show tonight. Anything related to Auburn is fair game. Sometimes we go a little off that beaten path, but we'd love for you to join in a conversation and be a part of it tonight and kind of generate the content, so to speak, the things that you're most interested in. Obviously, I can set the table a little bit for us in just a second. Would love to remind you to do a couple things for us. This is a very crowded stream night. Found out that like everybody is going live at 8 o'clock, it seems like tonight. So if you've chosen to be here live, thank you so much. If you're here on the replay, thank you for coming by. We'd love you to start off by smashing that like button right here. See, it did it right there. I knew it was going to do it at some point. Smash that like button. It's a huge help to us, helping us get our message out there, helping people find us. And you can also start off by posting right now in the chat where you're watching from, your city, state. If you're international, post where you're watching from. We'd love to know who from the Auburn family is here and where you're checking in from. So those are the two things that you can get started tonight. We'll say hello to some of you. Also, would love to remind you that you can call in tonight. The call line is available at the top of the chat on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook and you'd like to call in, you'd have to come over to to YouTube to access that. It's brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. Please do check them out. They are a great place to stay in Auburn, but also to have a good, complete, whole Auburn experience, which is what we preach here. So with that in mind, phone lines available. You dictate the show tonight. We'll say hello to some of you as we kind of get going tonight. Obviously, we are still in the heat of the excitement today of National Signing Day / early signing day, however you would like to phrase it. Believe it is what it is. You get to choose what you call it, but it is a signing day, and Auburn has really done a great job in terms of creating excitement that has not been here in quite some time. So I would imagine that is where most of y'all want to keep the conversation tonight. And that is probably where we will do a lot of that. We did just do a live stream about 4 hours ago of just kind of initial reactions to kind of get that all out there, get that started. So anything else, though, we talk about. I know some of you that attended that stream had some other questions not really related. Whoops, that came up out of nowhere. We're not really related necessarily to the topic at that point. This is now the time to ask those. So with that being said, let's say hello to some fine folks that are already here. We got Eric checking in on Facebook, the weakest link in Birmingham, in Nashville, Hoover checking in, Hueytown, goodness gracious, out in Texas. Devin's out there. Good to see you. Corey says, I'm pleased with today. I think that is just putting it mildly. I think everybody is thrilled today, but being pleased, yes, that's kind of like the expectation of today. But I think most people are just like over the moon. Imagine if Auburn had gotten KJ Bolden and or LJ McCray. Not only would Auburn fans be insufferable, the other fan bases would be insufferable, realizing that Auburn is fully back. I appreciate you saying I have the best stream. I do the best that I can. I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but we try our best to give you guys entertainment here. The weakest link says Freeze and his staff did a great job with this recruiting class. Yeah, however you want to describe it, quantify it, they did exactly what they were billed in terms of Hugh as a recruiter, the staff he could build to recruit alongside him, keeping some very important pieces on staff, not just for Auburn stuff, but for recruiting purposes. He made some very wise choices. I think retaining Travon Reed, even in an off the field role as a whatever coach you want to call him at this point, he is a coach, but he isn't a coach technically by title, was one of the best moves the first best move Hugh Freeze ever made was keeping Cadillac, finding a way to keep Zach, even if that doesn't last forever, and Zach Etheridge, and then keeping Travon Reed. And then, adding all the other pieces too, because they are recruiting machines. And I will say, I've been very impressed with Josh Aldridge, who he brought over from Liberty with him. And I know they've had a history, I believe, so there's other ties, but he's been pretty solid in terms of linebacking group. What the excitement of today was all about the wide receivers. What's lost in this is a pretty good linebacker and edge rusher group that was just brought in. And Josh had a lot to do with that. So did Garrett and Coach Garrett, and a lot of exciting things that we can still digest about today. Dallas checking in from Sacramento. We have Texas, California. Of course, lots of people in Alabama, Tennessee, everybody checking in. That's great. Here's a question earlier from Eric. He meant O-line. What's the O-line looking like next year? Well, that's a very big, broad question, so I don't know exactly what you mean by it. It's looking like an offensive line. Lots of big bodies, and will they actually be a lot better than last year? Only time will tell. I think the trajectory of last year, you saw improved play. I would argue at times it was not vastly improved, but it was improved. I asked one of you recently your opinions about, maybe it was Thomas, who loves talking offensive lineman. Was it improved? And he said, yeah, but still miles to go. Maybe I'm misquoting him or not saying correctly who said what. But to me, I felt like there was improvement. It'll be hard to say if there's going to be improvement this year because you're going to have a mix of these young guys coming up who made created some opportunities for themselves to play, took advantage of opportunities. Connor Liu obviously seems to be a rising star at center. You got guys like Clay Whidden, Braden Joyner, Tyler Johnson, Dylan Cinda, and then some of the guys that are still going to be here that have some more seniority. So it's going to be a really good question that we can answer more fully later on down the road. So I really don't know what to anticipate of the offensive line this year, essentially, is what I'm getting at. I know that's just thrilling to hear me say that. Thomas, I can't remember if I said hello to you, but hello to you. Good to see you. Darius checking in from Birmingham. Thanks for being here. What else? And we got Gumpville, Tuscaloosa, Chip checking in. We got people checking in from all the places. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is our weekly Wednesday night stream where we just kind of shoot the breeze and talk about whatever you all want to discuss. Please feel free to call into the show. You can be on camera, off camera. I know a lot of you may be coming over here for the first time or for the first time in a long time. And I know you got a lot of choices, especially on a Wednesday night, of places that you could be to get your Auburn content, but we appreciate you choosing us tonight. Hopefully you'll feel like family and want to join in on the conversation. Chip got big expectations. Fully expect Auburn to be a 2024 playoff team. If you were saying this within the context of Auburn being a playoff team in the current format, I would say, whoa there, settle down now. But given everything expanding next year, and given that Auburn, I would say, has an easier schedule than last year, not an easy schedule, but an easier, you might not be that far off. I wouldn't go that far. I love the optimism. I tend to be an optimistic guy, but at the same time, I don't know that I'm at the place where I can say this team is for sure a playoff team yet. Could be, but maybe. Andy asking for an update on Favor and Edwin, Favor Edwin and Cohen Eccles. Nobody. I mean, people say they know. I don't think anybody really knows except them. So I'm not going to be able to give you some grand update on them. It's an area of need. Coach has expressed. It was interesting today in his press conference. He said, and he was clearly referring to the offensive line, we've got one guy that we feel pretty good about there. And then he kind of said, well, we have two, but it was very telling that he kind of unintentionally dismissed that second option. So I don't think we're going to get both, maybe one. I think Favor was supposed to commit today, or supposedly was going to, but I guess it never happened for anybody. And then Cohen is committing on Fridays. Some people are of the opinion that he has silently committed somewhere and is just doing it as a formality on his birthday. So I don't know. So no big updates from us. It's not like we don't claim to be big insiders here. We get little tidbits every now and again, but not going to act like I'm some big insider like a lot of people try to do. Unbeaten Lake, best group of receivers we will ever have. So you're removing the possibility that we'll never have a better group. Oh, I don't like them odds. Some other groups I guess you're asking in the context of the past. It would help if you read the full comment, Kyle. Some other groups include 2004, 2010, 2014, 2017. Now, are you talking about the wide receiver group's production on the field or the recruiting class? Because that's two different things. Because we can't assume that this group is going to be the best ever simply because of their stars, which is what a lot of you are doing. Let's be honest. You see those 5 stars and you're like, sold. If 5 stars mattered, Texas A&M would not be in a position of having a new head coach. So we got to drive that in there. So again, it's how many stars you leave with, not how many stars you come in with. But at least in the perception game, you could make a very strong case that this is Auburn's best receiver group ever in the perception discussion. Production is where that will really meet the road. I would argue that Auburn's best receiver group is that 2004 group. Courtney Taylor, Ben Obumanu, Devin Aromashadu, Anthony Mix. I would throw Cooper Wallace in there, even though he's a tight end, just because he was that good of a receiving tight end. So you give me that group, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to take them because they were good production. Now, Ben was pretty highly regarded. I think Devin was very highly ranked. Courtney, I know was. Courtney Taylor. I don't know where Anthony Mix fell. He was kind of like the diamond in the rough. Anthony Mix struck me and strikes me now with everything, years gone by. A Darius Slayton type, somebody who was underutilized, maybe because he was surrounded by others that got more attention. But when they got another opportunity, aka the NFL for Darius, they really showed out. So Anthony, I think he played the NFL at some point, but I think Anthony was kind of stuck amongst the Courtney Taylors, the Devin Aromashadus, the Ben Obumanus. We'll see if that happens here. Joey says everyone thinks that we get one of the offensive linemen. I think so. I mean, what you got? One of the two is a better odds, or I don't know. I don't really know which way to go on either one of those. I hear one's a Bama lean, the other one maybe an LSU or Florida lean or whatever it is. I think we can get one. I think that's a fair assumption. Cohen leaning towards LSU. So maybe it's Favor. Does he call it favor or favor? I think it's spelled Favor. Can you imagine in the red zone, Fairweather, Coleman, Thompson? I'm sure I misspelled those last names. But how do you stop that? Fades everywhere. It's not that simple, but I understand your point. Size usually puts you in a much better position than most opportunities. But if you come up against some of these better defensive backs, size isn't going to matter. They'll play the position. They'll position themselves and be able to counteract that height and that length. But as Hugh often says, he prefers to have that in his arsenal rather than not. And so he has definitely stacked himself up again. He did so last year with some of the wide receivers we brought in. to say they panned out would be an to say they didn't pan out would be a over sensationalization of it, but to say it worked out how they had hoped, it would be fair. Hopefully this group will pan out better. Courtney Pitts was part of that wide receiver group coaching, but coaching swapped him to DB. We've seen that before. Trevon Reed was a highly regarded wide receiver, and he got swapped to defensive back, which arguably he probably had more success at. But hey, listen, I don't care how successful he was on the field. I just care right now how successful he is as a coach and a recruiter. Love that man. All right, we got our first caller tonight. He is one of our regulars. You often hear from him first. He is the captain of optimism, and we love him to death. Let's talk to him for a little bit. Mr. Kevin. Oh, I had you, and then I lost you. There you go. What's up?
War Eagle, Cal. We got all 20 commitments today.
We got 22 of 23. So there is one more that did not sign. I don't think he was planning to sign today. So almost 100% of the ones that were committed signed.
And I'm
pretty
glad,
good.
I'm glad Cam Coleman and Harry Thompson signed.
Yeah, were you worried about either of them flipping?
One of them.
Was it Perry Thompson you were worried about? So on a scale of how percentage wise, like were you 50% scared, 100% scared that he was 70% scared he was going to flip that much?
Yeah.
Oh man. See, I didn't buy into it all that much. I know a lot of people were nervous about it, but to me, I really hadn't, I try not to stress over the decision of 18-year-olds. That's me. Everybody else can choose what they stress out over. I used to do that a lot back in the day. I can't do that anymore. My heart can't take it.
Did DeMarcus Riddick sign?
He did. So of all the people that were committed already, everybody signed except for Dimitri Nicholas. Is that his name? Dimitri Nicholas?
Yeah, Nicholas.
I think it was known that he wasn't going to sign today, but I don't know if that's for reasons like he's going somewhere else, his spot's not available, or maybe it's grades. I don't know.
I think he's signing on Friday.
You think so?
Yeah.
I read somewhere that he was not going to sign at all in this early period. So I don't know. Listen, not 99% of it's probably not 99%, but close enough of your commits is pretty good.
Now we need Ryan Williams to commit.
Well, I need you to get on that and start. Apparently, fans speaking to him helps. There was that little boy that made the pitch in the case to him, so maybe we can get you on a live stream.
That 13-year-old named Connor.
Yeah, look, you already know who I'm talking about. So we need to get you and Connor on live streams with him and just start pounding them, just saying, "Hey, come on."
How you do that?
Well, you have to be invited onto their stream. So I'm just being funny, but if you ever get the opportunity to see them, just let them know, hey man, you can be, you can fall into the crowd at Alabama, or you can start a new thing here.
Hey, do you know my name's Jeffrey Lee?
Do I know Jeffrey Lee?
Yeah.
No, I do not know him. I do know Cole Pinkston, who works with him at On3. Good dude, but I don't know Jeffrey Lee personally.
He called me up Monday morning. He did me a account on On3 Auburn.
Oh, very nice. So well, congratulations.
So I can talk to all my fans.
Well, look at you. You're just like a superstar now. You're a superstar there, superstar here, whatever. What else do you need, Kevin? What else do you need?
You think Jaquez Hunter coming back?
I don't see a reason why he wouldn't at this point, unless he starts getting worried about his overall health. Like running backs have a very low longevity in football and much less in the NFL. So I think that's the only thing that could deter him from coming back. So I would say right now I expect him to. We'll wait and see though. How about this? Give me for one final thing. I want you other than Cam Coleman Perry Thompson, and DeMarcus Reddick. Who is your favorite recruit of the day?
Bryce McCain.
There it is. Bryce Kane. I got you. So I knew it was going to be one of the other wide receivers, but I was going to take the easy ones away from you.
Because I went saw him play against Mary G. Montgomery.
Well, you were very lucky to go see them in person.
And look, hold on a minute.
Yep, I got time for just a little bit more. So you got to do show and tell. What you got?
See that? That's Bryce Kane.
That's Bryce Kane's?
Yeah.
What is it?
He signed his name on his picture.
Gotcha. Well, congratulations. You are just becoming the superstar, getting shout outs, getting autographs, all that stuff, Kevin. And you got an awesome Santa hat. So you are ready for Christmas, my friend.
I'm ready for Christmas. How about you?
I am. Well, you have a good one. And maybe when we get together next week, you can tell us what you got for Christmas Auburn related. Okay.
Okay. War Eagle.
Eagle, Kevin.
And Merry Christmas. New Year.
You as well, buddy.
My prediction for next season, 12-0.
I figured it would be. Thanks, buddy. Have a good night.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Always good to hear from Kevin. Mr. Optimism, we love him to death. So you guys have a lot to live up to if you want to call in. So please do. Just click the link up at the top. If you are here on Facebook, YouTube, if you are on Facebook, you will have to come to YouTube to, access that call-in link. So please do that if you'd like to and say hello. We got a lot of new faces tonight, and I'd love to meet some of you for the first time. Let's see here. What were you guys talking about while we were talking with Kevin? Andy asked, out of this recruiting class, in your opinion, which group was better, wide receiver or linebacker? Again, this is one of those questions that's going to be very hard to answer right now because we're doing it off of perception. So if you're okay with me putting that caveat on there, Andy, of what I think's better off of perception, the easy answer is wide receivers. Because all we've heard about is, freeze 5 this, it's the freeze 4 right now, 2 5-stars, that in and of itself is hard to argue against. But what happens when everybody from this group gets out on the field, opportunities to compete for spots on the team? Who from that group ends up getting to play from each of those groups and make the most of their opportunities? I get the sense that it's pretty equal in terms of the opportunities that are going to be afforded from that group. So I don't know that it's an easy question to answer, which is why it's a good question. I think perception-wise, you say wide receiver. There's just something about this linebacker group, though, edge rusher, because that could technically fall into this a little bit too, that makes me surprisingly optimistic, and I don't know why. So it's a non-answer, but I hope you'll accept that from the perception side, the wide receiver group is better. I'm just not ready to fully commit to that, though. Joey, LJ stayed with Florida. He did sign, and it was interesting. Obviously, I tuned into his live stream on Instagram, but it was so funny. He was like, "Did y'all really think I was going to flip? Well, then why did you delay everything, buddy?" I mean, who do you think you're fooling at this point? So, yeah, that was an interesting thing today. I really think Auburn, my gut tells me they made a real strong push and it made him think about some things. But I also think maybe he made some decisions that were maybe beneficial for him under a program under duress that couldn't afford to lose another one to Auburn or to anyone. Probably had to fork over some cash, if you catch my drift. Big Simp, number 7 in the rankings, depending on which rankings you look at. I think one we're at 8. And on 1,000 now, let me see, number 7 now on the rankings on one of the 1,000 sites. Yeah, I got it. Oh, happy holidays. Yeah, so we are in the top 10. Depending on where you look at it, it'll differ in the top 10. The question is, where will they be at the end of this thing? You missed on McCray. that would have really catapulted this class up into a top 5 ranking potential. If you pull one of these offensive linemen out there, if you bring in a AJ Harris from Georgia, maybe defensive back wise, that might get you close, but I have a feeling that we'll be outside the top 5, which is perfectly fine. You just want to be in the top 10 is really what it is. Corey, Kyle, what's the best chances of getting that place kicker out of Auburn as a preferred walk-on everybody is after him? We talked about this on the reaction stream for signing day a few hours ago, but we'll cover it again for this crowd. And you guys can keep your questions and comments coming. Without knowing him personally and knowing what his priorities are, to me, if he is as highly regarded and touted as a kicker, why would you settle for a preferred walk-on position? Especially when you're going to have to play behind Alex McPherson here at Auburn. That's just my opinion. I was a former kicker. If you're asking me to put myself in his shoes, and I don't know where he falls in the kicker rankings. Not that there's a like definitive ranking of them out there, I don't think. But if he is as highly regarded as a lot of people seem to think of him, he's probably got some offers out there that are worth taking. It depends on how much he loves Auburn. They've done the preferred walk-on thing for, I think, 2 guys, J.R. Buckner and Gentry. I don't know how many they can offer on that. I think, unfortunately, this is one of those times that unless he just really wants to be at Auburn, which he might, and I would love that. I want people that want to be here, that he may go off somewhere else because the timeline doesn't match up. Alec McPherson was the perfect segue between the Carlsons or the last Carlson. He had, 1 year to be with a Carlson and he could redshirt. It was perfect timing. Doesn't line up that way so much with the current situation for Towns Magoo, which is Towns Magoo. What a name. What a name. So I don't know, but it would be really cool to get a kicker as highly regarded as him from our backyard and not let him slip away. But hey, great. Here's the thing. Transfer portal is here, baby. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. He can always come back. So, caught up on most of y'all's questions and comments. I can keep talking about what I want to discuss, but I'd love to hear what you got on your mind. Obviously, recruiting, signing day is prevalent, but if you're curious about bowl game discussions, if you're interested in stuff about the team, basketball, all that stuff, fair game now tonight because this is the call-in show. Let's see. Florida got bumped to 16th. Woo. Life comes at you fast, Florida. I don't know that I've seen a team fall from grace and really not be able to catch themselves like a Florida team or this Florida program. I think that's one of the troubles of rising up so quickly. We saw it happen with Auburn, with Gene Chizik. As quickly as it rose up, it fell apart. Granted, Cam Newton's a once-in-a-generational talent, and it's hard to replace that, especially when your offense is predicated upon having someone like that. But Florida is just struggling today. And I mean struggling. So if you know a Florida fan, you might want to go give them a hug. Just put your arm around them and just say, we've been here. Not as long as y'all, but we've been there, and it's pretty rough. Corey thinks that Alex will get drafted next season. You don't see kickers leaving that early that often, but maybe. If I think best case scenario, Alex leaves after 2 more years, and if Towns wanted to wait around for 1 season, that would be something he might consider. I just don't know that I see either of those 2 things happening. Has there been as many flips in one class than what UF had today? That's a good question for somebody who spends way too much time on recruiting sites, which I do. That is not me. It's a good question, though. I can't think of somebody. Now, to say that would be negating some of these situations that have occurred where someone got fired as a head coach and it basically fell apart their program and their recruiting class. So do you count those as flips though if they're leaving a program that's really struggling to keep itself from falling apart after losing a head coach? I guess you do still, but I don't know. What is it? I think they lost 5 or 6 today. No, it's 5. I guess if McCray had left, he would have been like number 6. It's 5 or 6. Not a good look. Not a good look, especially for Billy Napier, who's supposed to be a decent recruiter. And Florida's had some success in not just one era, but several eras. So it's not like they're a flash in the pan like Ole Miss and can't really get back up to that level. I don't know. And it seemed like Ole Miss had a pretty good transfer portal cycle and recruiting cycle this season. So that drama still continues. Tennessee fell off the cliff. Yeah, I think I didn't really pay attention to them a whole lot. They've got the one good wide receiver out of Birmingham from the state of Alabama, but they're in the teens, I think, right now. I don't know if I'll call it falling off a cliff yet, but they definitely didn't maintain from that first, or that, I guess it was second season they had when they beat Alabama. Good to see you, WT. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's see here. His body is slow on development. Are you talking about Towns Magoo or Alex? Which one are you talking about? Because I can guarantee you it's not that big a deal what his body type is like as a kicker. Drip your faucets, folks. Freeze warning is in effect. WT's been waiting to say that one all day, I bet. You probably said it on the other stream and I missed it because we had so many people there commenting and stuff like that. I figured we were going to have a smaller crowd for this one because there's some other people that usually go live at 8:00 normally, but I realized tonight, I just kind of checked in on what everybody else was doing in the YouTube space and I realized a lot of other people were going live. I was like, oh boy, it's going to be a crowded night on YouTube. Big Simp, SEC is tough regardless, but the top 25 rankings, the SEC is wow. Mizzou, South Carolina, Texas A&M surprised me considering the coaching change. Looks like Oklahoma and Texas are going to be, and he left us hanging. Texas A&M shouldn't surprise you. They've got the money to do whatever they want to do, despite who their head coach is. Mizzou and South Carolina. Mizzou is a little bit of a shock. Eli, I will say this: I thought Eli Drinkwitz was a dead man walking, when really it was our head coach at the time. He survived and he's kind of come over the hill a little bit. Yeah, apparently he hit a 65-yarder, and probably that's now becoming like a tall tale thing, but I think he hit like a 60-something yarder in high school. He can boot it. And he was 100%. I can say it now that the season's over. Because if I jinx him and he misses one to start the next season, it's a new season. I know I'd be ruining the streak, but he was 100%, folks. It's like a no hitter. You don't talk about it. I almost talked about it thousands of times on post-game streams and stuff like that. And then somebody said it on the TV and I about screamed at the TV. Don't talk about it. It's a no hitter. 100%. 100%. It's crazy. Corey says, any chance we get the almighty Ben on the post bowl stream? Now, remember, I told you guys this. I don't know if you were on those streams where people were asking about that. Ben is very busy these days. He is not able to join us. I did talk to him at the beginning of the season if he wanted to do it again. And originally he wanted to join us for post-game streams, for reviews of the games on Mondays, but his life is just very busy right now. And yeah, I don't think he has the time for it. Billy Napier will be canned after the 23-24 season. Well, 23 was now. Saying after the 2024 season. If he doesn't get things righted this season, he will be. After this recruiting class, you don't fall on your face the way that they did and then follow that up with a terrible season and survive. But if he puts together a decent season, maybe he survives. The question has to become for Florida, though, who are you going to get instead? It's very much the Auburn situation of a few years ago. Don't make the move unless you've got plenty of good options out there, which we clearly didn't. Dig that one up again. So, yes, it has been interesting watching the Florida fall apart today, and their fans trying to reconcile with everything that's going on. Mr. Thomas, you continue to be too generous, sir. Too kind, too awesome. Thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciated. We'll keep the lights on here at E2C Network. Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In fact, let's see if I can give you a, I thought it might do it. The thumbs up thing, like that shoots the things. Like maybe if that happened, I would give you like fireworks in the middle of that. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. WT missed the earlier broadcast, but watched it on the replay. I was determined not to miss that one, but you did it. You did it anyway. You Billy Napier did. Way to go, WT. Awful, awful, awful. TCB, is this like a legitimate thing? I've seen it kind of circulating around, but it felt typically like things that people with anonymous Twitter handles say to the opposing fan base just to get them all stirred up. To me, if there was a legitimate shot that he was going to go to the Falcons, they wouldn't be pulling KJ Bolden. I don't know. Don't think he'll leave anytime soon. I don't know about. I mean, he is a Georgia guy. Seems pretty sweet what he's got set up there. You know, if he can hang around, he can kind of maybe rival if they have the same sustained success. What Nick Saban did at Bama. I hope not, but I hope not. Yes, Kirby wants to outshine Saban. You never want to be the guy that replaced the guy that replaced the guy. So the question becomes, though, when Nick Saban retires, and it's coming, who replaces him? Would Kirby leave Georgia for Alabama, knowing what he would inherit? That will be the true test of his loyalty, not the Falcons, because you could understand someone wanting to just try something at the next level, but to literally do a lateral move to arguably one of Georgia's biggest rivals currently and your former team that you were an assistant coach on, leaving your alma mater. Wow, talk about drama. Kirby to the Falcons is as relevant to Saban joining ESPN as a broadcaster. Yeah, I don't know. That'll be something for us all to tackle when that day arrives. Every year we feel like it's going to happen and it doesn't, so I'm not getting my hopes up, but it will happen eventually. It will happen. Hopefully we're not having to worry about our own coaching changes anytime soon. Look, Hugh is doing exactly what he promised. He was going to recruit well. He was going to try to get the ship righted in terms of where this team, especially offensive, is at. I would say that was kind of a moot point this year. At times it looked better, but a lot of times it didn't. So yeah, but he has definitely delivered in the other areas that he would promised. Michael Floyd, good to see you, sir. Perry scared you. Why did he scare you? Don't let 18-year-olds' decisions scare you. Don't let them run your life. I get it, though. It was an exciting day with a lot of ups and downs. I think Perry loved the attention he got from it, and thus, let it kind of dictate some of the decisions he made to play games and things like that. But he is signed, nothing else to worry about. All right, we got our next caller in. Let's go ahead and say hello to him. We got Mr. Thomas Manville. What is up, sir?
War Eagle, y'all, how y'all this evening?
We are doing well. We are jazzed up. We are frozen solid here. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, man. What a great day.
Yeah, it's a great day to be an Auburn Tiger. It was a really good day. Wake up early, I was off work today, so it worked out perfectly. Got to check on recruiting, signing day, all that. Well, early signing day.
Whichever it is.
Yeah, whichever one it is, or whenever people can sign these days or transfer or whatever else. But, man, what a good day for us.
It was a very good day. We got all the ones that we were expected to get. Now, you could argue at one point we were expected to get KJ. I just never felt good about that one in terms of us really, truly being in it. But at the end of it, I mean, I know we were in it, but like coming out that the way we wanted it to, it seemed pretty obvious that Amaris was going to flip. It was the most like I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. The most unsurprising flip ever. And then, the LJ thing, well, it seemed like it felt very like Cyrus Kwanjo-y. I don't know if you remember that commitment process where it kind of all of a sudden was an Auburn race. And that one actually ended up being in Auburn. And then the shenanigans happened. This one just kind of felt like it wasn't going to also end the way we wanted it to. But despite the quote, I don't think there was a miss today. I think it was you took your shot. It didn't work out. Better luck next time.
No, I'll agree with that. I mean, we got who we really knew or kind of really felt we got who we felt we were going to get, and that's a good feeling, especially the two receivers. DeAndre Carter signing really early in the day, way before his scheduled time to announce.
Right.
That just says he's all the way balled in, man. I think he can be a second stringer. He can be a plug and play guy if somebody gets hurt. He's just got to get his body right. But I'm really excited about all the guys we got today.
Yeah, I think it speaks a lot to a guy that's coming out from California, wants to be here that eagerly. Because that was interesting, too. I noticed that because he was scheduled to be an afternoon signing, at least his ceremony was going to be. And then all of a sudden, he's announced, I'm in, like I'm done. And you're seeing that coming through. I'm like, well, that was interesting. I missed that memo. But I think, honestly, people were asking me on the other stream who you're most excited about. And the easy answers are the wide receivers and stuff like that. But I really am excited about Andre Carter just because of the uniqueness of him coming over from California. Like I said on the last stream, I think the last California true high school player I think we had a shot at was Eric Armstead, if you remember him. And that was a long time ago. So it's a unique situation for Auburn.
No, I agree with that completely, man. Hugh Freeze is proving that he can recruit more than just the Southeast. Now, the Southeast is a hotbed for talent. I mean, all the way from some parts of Tennessee all the way down to the very tip of Florida, man. It's a talent-rich area. But the state of California and Texas are really, really talent-rich as well. So to see him putting his feelers out there and kind of getting out there, I mean, even though it's one guy, but that's still a good sign.
Yep.
That they're making an effort. They're going cross country to recruit the best talent they can get.
Right. And that's why I always, when we do these informational videos about the recruits, I know it seems like I throw that in there at the end of the videos, but it's important to talk about because relationships in anything, sports or otherwise, are what matter. And if you can build those little, the buzzword is pipeline, but just little connections out there, you never know what's happened. It's why when we get a new head coach and I do the videos about them, I talk about what their history is, because not only is it a connection for them to go recruit out there, but that kind of shows you maybe who influenced out there. What type of ball are they putting out there? Are they more pass heavy? Or if they're an offensive guy, are they more run heavy? Are they balanced? All of these things are important in the recruiting process, even where they come from. So I know it seems like a small thing to some people, but it just is a really cool thing to see a California boy being so sold out to come to Auburn. And you and I both love him because he's an offensive lineman too.
You dang right. That's a big dude.
He's a big boy.
I mentioned earlier, he's got to get his body right, and he's going to be in a collegiate Southeastern Conference strength and conditioning program real soon. That's why I say, I mean, the kid's got the measurables. He's got the talent. He just needs to shape up a little bit. That's normal for a 17, 18-year-old kid. You still going to have a little bit of baby fat on you. There ain't nothing wrong with it. They're going to get you right. They're going to feed you well. They're going to get you lifting weights, and I think he can contribute early. I'm not saying he's fixing to walk in here and start. If he does, I'll be surprised, but I'll be happy at the same time. But we got to build depth, and yeah, we hadn't got a lot of guys on for the offensive line out of the portal yet, and we don't have a lot of signees. But we already picked up Dylan Cinda. We've got Tyler, I think it's Tyler Johnson. That is just a prototypical tackle, man. Kid's just built like a rock, man. He's built to play the O-line.
Yep.
I'd love to get some of the other names that have been tossed around today, but if we don't, I'm not going to freak out because there's still another portal season coming up.
Yeah. And I think people forget about that because for so long we've been talking about offensive line recruiting. We got to fix this. We got to fix this problem. We've been working on that, and we've been building up some of that depth, some of that continuity at that position from the portal, yes, but also we've still been doing high school recruiting, and some of that's starting to pay off. Connor Liu this season, getting to play more, getting more playing time, and then eventually starting at one point. And you brought up Tyler Johnson. There's Clay Whidden. There is Braden Joyner, Dylan Cinda. I think Dylan Cinda, to me, was, because he came in so late and right before the season started. And I remember talking about this in the video I did, at least I hope I did, because I remember thinking about it, that I don't think people, because of what else the season was about to start, everybody was focused on that, how much that changed our priorities going forward. Not to say that it said we were going to stop recruiting from that level, but having a guy with basically 4 years left up, technically 3 to 4 years, depending on what he uses, coming in, just basically from the transfer portal, that's huge.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes, so. Yes, it is. And you can't forget about the guys that are still able to play next year. They still have another year of eligibility that have had meaningful snaps or this particular season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course I want to bring in, 8 offensive linemen every recruiting cycle. But right now, Freeze is trying to build it from the ground up, not just plug and play and Band-Aid it with the portal. And again, we can think and speculate all we want to, but we're not on the coaching staff. We're not paid by the university. So at some point, you got to trust them. You can dislike it all you want to, but you got to put a little bit of trust in them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So give me, as like a closing thing here, give me your diamond in the rough other than who we've talked about. Who's your diamond in the rough in this class that that we'll all be surprised we're talking about more this time next year?
I don't know if I'd be surprised we're talking about him, but Malik Blockton.
Okay.
I mean, he's a stud, man. He can play ball. He really can. And we needed help and depth at those positions, and especially along both sides of the line. But I think he's going to be big for us. I really do.
Mm-hmm. And I just hate that he and his brother didn't get to play together. I thought for sure that would make him stay for one more year. But I think Marcus, he really trended upward as the season went along. And, a lot of times these guys, when they see that they're having, quote unquote, a better than expected year as their time is drawn to a close, they kind of get that itch to go and try into the next level. So I understand. I'm just like, it's your brother, man. Come stay. Come on. This is all about family, man. Come stay in with us, one more time. Because I felt like every time at the end of the game, I was yelling out Marcus Harris's name after he'd be like yanking somebody down and stuff like that. So, but having his brother here, if he's anything like him, he'll have a good trajectory in his career. So that's a good pick right there. I think that would surprise some people because I think he's probably one of those, because he's so close to home, he gets forgotten about. We get excited about the California boys, the ones coming from Georgia and Florida, but it comes right out of the backyard. So,
linemen always get thrown under the bus, and you only get called out if you're doing something bad.
But look, if we run you over with a bus, we'll really feel it because y'all are usually the big boys. So,
that's right. Yeah.
Well, it's always good to hear from you, Thomas. Thanks for calling in and letting us hear from you about signing day.
Absolutely, guys. War Eagle, y'all have a good evening.
You too as well. Thanks, buddy, for calling in. Yep. All right. We've heard from some of our regulars tonight. We'd love to hear from some of you all out there who haven't called in, some people who haven't been here in a while or some new faces. So please do take advantage of that call-in link. Even if you just want to say, hey, and give it a try for the first time. I know it's a little bit scary. I know everybody else who's called in and previously they've said, man, it was just so intimidating. Like, that wasn't me, but like just to call in, I get it, but give it a try. We'd love to get some of you guys Corey, who else is here that's a regular? WT, Michael, you've called in before. We'd love to see some of y'all smiling faces tonight and talk a little bit about it. I usually stay on till 9 o'clock on Wednesday nights, but we'll gauge where we're at. If we're having some good combo, we may continue it, but we're not going anywhere right now. Just want to kind of put that out there. If you want to call in, give it a shot. Now is the time to do so. Stan thinks that Kirby will be exposed next year. They have a tough schedule. And yeah, I think if it was a year where they were coming to Auburn again, that would be the worst possible news for him. But he gets Auburn at home early-ish in the season. So it's probably going to be more so in his favor. Oh, we got two Bensons here tonight. Corey and TC Benson, whatever TC is. The coincidences never cease on this show. For those of you that may be new, I keep saying that a lot because we do have a lot of new people here. We talk a lot about when we go live here, things happen. I've really been living on the edge here, kind of looking at my phone, expecting some commitment to happen that I'm not even assuming anybody. I'm just saying that things happen. Like we get commitments all the time while we're live. Mike V-Dog. Let's see. I'm not sure if he's trolling. Sounds like a troll. 7-5 in 2024, and hopefully the Birmingham Bowl. It sounds like a troll. I don't know that we're going to be going 7-5 next year. You're going to have to really look at that schedule and tell me where 5 losses are going to come. I mean, I think your best loss chances for Auburn are, or if you're talking about Georgia, maybe you're talking about Georgia. Maybe I misread you on that. I don't know that I would say Georgia's going to go 7-5 either, whichever one you're talking about. I got you. See, it's finally clicking. See, the context in this stuff gets missed sometime. Yeah, I wouldn't agree either that Georgia is going to go 7-5. Well, just for funsies here. I know it's not technically Auburn related, but it's our rival, so we can discuss them a little bit. Auburn, UGA 2024 schedule. Let's take a look-see at what they got. Sick'em Dogs is what it says, or this website that I pulled up. Clemson and Atlanta. I think they'll win that one. Tennessee Tech, that's a win. Kentucky, I would put a push in Kentucky. They'll probably lose at Bama. I'd like to think we'd beat them, but I'm just going to have to give them the win there. They beat Mississippi State. At Texas will be a loss probably. Florida will be a win. Ole Miss could be a loss, but probably not. Tennessee at home. UMass at home. I see 3 potential losses there. That's it. That's all I see. What trees, Mike? I admit Mike's dropping us some weird things. I don't know what this is all about. But I look at that schedule and I see 9-3 at worst for them. At Alabama, at Texas, at Ole Miss could be rough. Kentucky was a push, I said. So how about this? Out of those 4 games, at maximum, I say they lose 3. So which would be a down year and for some Georgia fans who probably won't know how to cope, a fall apart for them. Maybe. I don't know. But it's a good thing we're not Georgia fans. We don't have to worry about that. Hardest list of opponents they've had in 8 years. I won't argue with you too much there. They have very much thrived off a very weak East. Most years, a weak East. And anytime Kentucky has looked legitimate, they always falter, it seems like, against Georgia. So that's been a bit of a disappointment. Yeah, this is probably going to be the toughest one that they have. Since we're talking about schedules, let's look at Auburn's again. I just want to see if anything's changed in my mind since we last talked. I know it's been 2 weeks basically since is it a week? 2 weeks since it was released. Auburn 2024 schedule, not class. We have been talking about the class a lot. Alabama A&M's a win. Hopefully Cal's a win. New Mexico. Arkansas probably. Oklahoma I feel like it's going to be a win. At Georgia, that's tough. Missouri and Lexington, and in Lexington, be tough games. I'm going to say one of those is at least a push. Vanderbilt, ULM, and Texas A&M at home will be win. I think Auburn's got a strong chance for a 9-3 season right now. Kind of where I'm sitting at. Auburn will win one that they shouldn't and lose two they should win. I would say lose one that they should win. That feels about right. We're going to New Mexico State something again. I'm so glad I was not able to go that week. Kyle and Corey's family both came from. Excuse me. Did I talk about my family being from Tallahassee? Do we know each other? Corey? This is getting weird, man. I didn't know that you knew that my family was from Tallahassee. How did you know that? Just messing with you. All right. Big Simp. When will we be ranked in B-ball? Is the football committee doing the B-ball rankings? It's like I told you, I think we talked about this last week. I wouldn't worry about it so much. This kind of stuff always takes care of itself, especially in basketball. You just got to be one of those 64 teams, and Auburn is very much in those 64 teams. But it does kind of make you turn your head and go, really? Not in the 2025 yet? I would, in the top 25, I would say if it goes another week without Auburn moving in. If Auburn gets 2 more wins, which would be, well, I guess it would only be 1 win before they come out again. If Auburn gets 2 more wins regardless, and they're not in the top 25, because there'll be enough probably losses to dictate them moving up, I will be very upset. Let's see here. Texas and Oklahoma recruiting for joining the SEC. I was impressed with OU's recruiting. Oh, they usually do pretty good. They also do a lot with a little or less, it seems like. SEC keeps getting harder. Yes, it does. Undefeated in the SEC won't happen often. I agree with that too. Brian is riding the hype train of the wide receiver best class ever. In perception, yes. In reality, we won't know until they actually hit the field, if they actually do. So, yeah. Auburn will be one of the 16 teams. Got a good shot at it. But I don't know that we're quite. I think 3 losses will be kind of the threshold of who does and doesn't get into the playoff. You'll have to be somebody, I think, that was ranked, who either was ranked or got ranked pretty early on and was able to kind of stay higher up, even with some losses, to make it in there. Because it'll be conference champions, and then the top, 6 at large? Because they'll do the SEC, they'll do the SEC, ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10. Well, that's only 4 because the Pac-12's gone. And they were used to do the group of 5, so that would have been 6, and the other 6 would at large. So what does that mean? Are there going to be 2 group of 5 now? Well, I frankly would love that. I am one of those people that's unfortunately, probably for a lot of you, a fan of the group of 5 getting in. I like mixing it up a little bit, even if they get their butts handed to them. Talking BB, one of the 16 teams. Oh, the Sweet 16. You were talking about something. Again, I need context sometime. I'm going to start talking about something completely different if y'all don't give me context. One of the Sweet 16, if that's what you're talking about, I can get on board that hype train. Perry is the second coming of Julio Jones to Alabama fans until he flipped. Then he was someone they really didn't want. Oh, they wanted him. Don't let them fool you. They really, 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 really did want them. The size of the conferences is crazy. Yeah, it is everything's getting a little bloated in college football. I was a fan of the model, no matter the size, everybody had to join 8 conferences. And your conference champion goes no matter what. Because in my opinion, if you're not good enough to beat whoever you need to beat to win your conference championship game, you don't deserve to be in the playoff. I hear you on all this. Well, but there's been, the second best team has always, or has been in the same conference and they just had a bad game. That may be true, but if you were truly the best team from your conference, you wouldn't have any slip-ups. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just the reality of it is. If you're good enough, you truly are the best team, you should be able to walk right through it. So I have very little sympathy for, well, we were the best team out, out there. That's why I got so upset about the Florida State thing. I know this is kind of an extrapolated rant from what you said there, but I really think that 8 conferences, everybody's champion goes, is the fairest, simplest way to do it. Because then you get everybody's champion in it. No complaints. What all players are coming back? Peyton, Eugene, Shane Hooks. Is Shane officially coming back? I didn't get that memo. I probably missed that. Yeah, Eugene is coming back. Obviously, Peyton, it seems like Holden is too right now. Who else? Somebody else in the Keontae just announced same day as Seth Wilfred, who at least maybe he knows because they both came from Snow College. Maybe he at least knew he was coming to Snow College. I can't remember who else was in question. Everybody's asking about Jarquez right now. I'd say there's a few that left that I'm surprised left. Mike says the same 12 teams in the playoff every year if we did it that way, or you're saying that will happen now? Maybe. That's why I like having more group of 5 in there to mix things up a little bit. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We are at a minute. Well, it's 9 o'clock, but we've been on for a minute and 2. I tried to start a little bit earlier tonight. I don't have to run away, but if we've kind of hit most of the topics that y'all want to talk about, we can start winding it down. So keep your comments and questions coming. I'll hit some of those. Let me give you some reminders. As a reminder of what to expect next from us here at E2C Network, the Auburn Experience, our next scheduled live stream will be after the Alabama State basketball game this Friday evening. It will be a late one, and I hope you guys can join us for that one. Probably be a short one too, but hope you can join us for that. Normally on Sunday nights at 9, we do the Auburn Experience live recording. We are off for 2 weeks because it's Christmas Eve, and then it'll be New Year's Eve. We're not doing them on the holidays. So you will miss us for those next 2 weeks, but next Wednesday, we will have a live stream just like this one and for any other basketball games coming up. So don't miss that. Videos coming up here for our new commitment/recruits. When I say the new ones, like Amaris Williams, the transfer from Duke today, and anybody else that may or may not come. So we will discuss those in some videos, some informational videos about that. But follow us everywhere for all the content for E2C Network. You don't want to miss out. If you haven't subscribed, you need to, because this is a place where we talk a lot about sports. But if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. All kinds of We got band stuff on here, just kind of lifestyle stuff from Auburn. If you love Auburn, this is the place for you. And I'm talking about if you love Auburn, not just Auburn football. Don't be an Alabama fan. Love the whole Auburn experience. That's what we're about here. I think the NIL will be changed next season. I feel like something has to change, Corey. It really does feel like we've reached a point where it's just getting so convoluted, so bloated, so out of hand in some areas that something is going to have to give. So I agree with you there. Well, I would agree with you that something will change. I just don't know when it will, unfortunately. Big Simp. Talking about our wide receiver class, one of our best to do it, Duke Williams. His channel came across my feed. Dude has matured well. Does he have a YouTube channel? Big Simp, is that what you're telling me? Duke Williams has one? Well, ironically enough, we're giving away a Duke Williams ball to somebody who won a giveaway It's literally sitting here in a box next to me with some other things that they may or may not want. It's a giveaway we started a long time ago. It's over, so don't think you can get in on it now. But Duke Williams signed ball is in this box ready to go. And that person already knows that they're getting it. So that's funny that you brought that up. He has a YouTube channel. Is that what you're telling me? A sports. I might have to tune in on this thing. Now I'm kind of sad I'm giving the ball away. Man, that was a big day when we got Duke Williams. I wish it had panned out better for him. Does Auburn have 4 or 5 5-stars in the class? Have more 4 5-stars in this class than ever? Again, it depends on which ranking you're looking at. So that's a tough question to answer. I'm going to say no. It feels like we're just sitting in the excitement of this right now. We probably have had some equal things, some equal times. Corey wants some baseball talk. How's the team look? Another regional when they start back up? I honestly, it's one of the things I need to do better at, of staying in touch with the baseball team in the off season. And I have not done that again this year. So I will be getting in gear with you all when we start doing some, we don't do all post-game streams. We usually do like a midweek one for catching up with the weekend stuff. And then I think we do, how did we do that last year? Maybe it was just a weekly one that we did. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We need Ryan Williams, Kevin says. I don't think we need Ryan Williams. I think we would like Ryan Williams. This class, this wide receiver group, is pretty stout without him. Now, sorry, Ryan, if you're seeing that and that makes you upset and not want to come, but that's the reality of the situation. We don't need anybody. We want you here. We would be thrilled to have you, but I'm very happy with what we have done and what Hugh Freeze has pulled off with what some are calling the best wide receiver group in Auburn's history, at least perception-wise. And I will agree with you on that and at least not argue with it if they get Ryan Williams. Corey asks, has a school won a natty in football, basketball, and baseball in the same year? I don't think so. Florida and one other team did the basketball thing and football thing, but I don't think baseball. So Florida's good, has had recent success in all 3 of those. So if there was a team that was going to do it, it probably would have been them. It's a good question, though. All right, folks, we're going to call it there. Thank you so much for being here. If this was your first time here, I hope you enjoyed it. This is kind of a vibe of Wednesday nights, and we just hang out, shoot the breeze, take calls, and just be part of the little Auburn family. And this is the best little family within the Auburn family. So I hope that we'll see you here often. If you just found the channel because you checked in on our signing day stream, welcome. And I hope that you'll feel at home and want to join us for some more things down the road. You guys are the best little family within the Auburn family. And I appreciate you so much. Excited to talk to you one more time, at least live stream wise, unless something crazy happens on our post game stream for Auburn versus Alabama State. But if I don't see you on that or until after that, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and happy holidays for everybody else who celebrates everything else, but especially a Merry Christmas to you all. And I hope that you guys are having a great vacation and holiday season. Until I talk to you again, War Eagle.